Bueno, la gente, bienvenidos a todos otra vez a otro episodio del Cast. Esta vez tengo a dos mega invitados que los he tenido así mismo en mi lista, Natan y Masto. Tuve unas clases con ellos en Improve Surfing, que es un surf coaching school aquí en el Gold Coast. Increíble. Creo que me parece que tuve 3, 4 clases y dije, no, pues esto está increíble porque no solamente que ellos vienen de South America, Natan es de Brasil y Masto, tú eres de Brasil y de Argentina, de Uruguay.
Soy nacido en Argentina y crecí en Brasil.
Eso. Entonces, Masto tiene un combo ahí, es como, habla como 5 idiomas. Entonces, nada, quería invitarlos el día de hoy para esto, para hablar, para más que todo la gente que está aquí alrededor del mundo, porque realmente podcast es para que todos aprendamos un poco de lo que otras personas estamos haciendo, de los que estamos apasionados por el surf y, bueno, de lo que estos chicos están haciendo. Entonces, y ahora los voy a introducir en inglés. El podcast va a ser el primer podcast en inglés porque obviamente estamos aquí en Gold Coast y obviamente todos somos de una parte diferente del mundo. Y si no sabes inglés, brother, deberías aprender inglés. Así que esta va a ser tu oportunidad perfecta. So, we're going to change into English. Sorry, guys, I was just giving you a quick introduction. I believe, Natan, you can probably pick up some words from my introduction because we can get a few things right if we speak slowly. So, guys, thank you so much again for being in this episode number 5 of the Cast. Have been in the list, like I was introducing. And yeah, like it will be amazing if you guys can give your a quick introduction about yourselves and about improve surfing. What is this all about?
Okay, yes, thank you first. Thank you, Carlos, for inviting us for the podcast. So much for the invitation. We are pretty excited to talk a little bit about surfing. That's something we do every single day. And my name is Thomas Alvarez. I am the head coach and one of the founders of Improve Surfing. Yeah, that's what I do for life.
My name is Nathan Palma. Thank you so much for inviting us. Podcast that you're running about surf to what we love, our passion. That I help Thomas, support Thomas with the whole team to make this dream come true.
It is definitely, and I think that, like I always say, like everyone that dedicates part of their life to this to surfing is I think it's a 99% passion, because like it's a sport that once you get the gist of it, like once you get like that little taste, it's addictive and it's forever and good addiction, right? So it's like one of the healthy ones. So yeah, I always appreciate when us that we're in the industry, right? Like we put a little bit of of salt there in the mix. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, guys. I love what you guys are doing. So let's start introducing people here to what you guys are doing. How long have you guys been doing this for? How did the idea was born in the first place? So I'm gonna hit you with the first question here. I know these guys have been surfing already. I was like checking the cameras and they were like, actually, Dio, it's really fun. I was like, I'm gonna go surfing after this. So let's go. So how did Improve Surfing started on the Gold Coast and what led you to create a coaching system different from the typical traditional surf left? So how did it all started?
So going a couple steps back before Improve Surfing, I started surfing when I was 6 and started competing when I was 10. And I had coaches all my life and they taught me a lot. When I moved to the Gold Coast to compete and to take myself to the next level, came here to learn English and start competing, I realized that there was a big mess in the middle between people that want to learn how to surf and professionals where they wouldn't have any advice to improve. Or let's say we would have the traditional surf schools that they get into 5 to 10 group class sessions where they run the same session over and over with experience, which is amazing
Yeah.
for whoever wants to just stand up on the board. And you will have coaches coaching the professionals, doing the programs, the improvements, and the self analysis. But there will be no one doing the middle part, is the everyday surfers. They carry a lot of passion and they love what they do, and they wouldn't have anyone helping them to take their surf to the next level. And that's where
Yeah.
improved surfing pretty much does one of the parts in the beginners, intermediates, and also professionals. It's pretty much the idea came let's do something different. Let's do a revolution here. Like, let's take the surf.
Amazing. So you pretty much spotted that gap in the market, and then you were like, "Oh, no one's taking care of these guys." And absolutely, like I feel like 100% identified with that because I'm an intermediate surfer that like I said, like we were saying at the beginning, like I'm super passionate about it, and surfing is such a complicated sport that yeah, you can get better on your own, but it's like anything. Like example, I'm not sure if you are aware, but I do coaching for people that want to learn a digital, ability or skill to be able to work and surf and travel, doing online work. So it will take you forever to learn something if you didn't have someone like a coach or something that will be like, for example, with one of your classes, you know what changed my surfing with one tip that you gave me, Masto? The arm thing was like, still think about like I do it, like I remember you telling me like, you have to use more of your arm above the way, like the lip, so you can generate that speed that you're looking for. And then I started doing that. And in mine, I've been surfing since I was 15. And I'm like, I don't know, like I've been surfing 16, 17 years of my life. And that little thing just took me to another level. And who knows when I was like going to actually find out that I needed to move my back arm a little bit more to generate that speed. So that's the benefit of having someone like you guys, coaching you. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. And Natan, this mix, where do you come in? Where I know you're the brains as well in this operation. So tell us a little bit more about how you come in. Hit us. Come on.
Yeah, so basically, as soon as I met Tomas, he started like coaching me. I started from scratch, right? I get
Yeah.
addicted so quick, right? And
Yeah.
I saw like a lot of, like talent in Tomas, and I said like, how can I, like leverage this conversation to the next level, right?
Yeah.
The way how I see improve surfing, the way how you guys were talking now. Imagine when you go, like you teenager, like 16 years old, and your friend like imagine 18 years old, like ripping already, and then you start surfing with them, these guys, like, and then imagine like he giving tips, so on and so forth. It's very hard to have like a friend that do this like in a long period with you, because the time doesn't match, you have to go to the job, so on and so forth. And I see improve surfing like your best friend. That's why it's one-on-one surf coaching, because the purpose of us, like it's take yourself to the next level in a short period of time. We know like it's one of the hardest sports in the world.
It
And
is. Yeah.
if you could like in daily basis have like this best friend to help with the tips.
Right. So that's the approach.
That's exactly right. So that's why you can give more time and attention for you, and is a tailor-made, like strategy to improve yourself and take to the next level. And as soon as
Yeah.
I saw like the Thomas talent, I said, why not you create a methodology that we can help not only the surfers but also teaching coaches to use this for these people and improve people much.
Bro, I didn't know that part. Yeah. That's awesome.
Imagine like a professional surfer that's your best friend, give you tips like every day. So instead,
Yeah.
like you improve like in a certain level, 5 years you could do this in one. That's the idea. It's not like about organic, but a synthetic improvement. Then you go bigger.
I love that. Look, I was talking to some of my friends, and I'm always talking about surfing and equipment. Like I'm obsessed with it. So it's like, I'm like, oh my God, like exactly what you said. It's not like an organic improvement, but a synthetic improvement. Is that what you said? And correct me if I'm wrong with my idea here, with my thoughts, because I'm like always like thinking how to improve. And I was telling my friends, it's right on. So if my, um, body ability, my ability as a human being, improving, it's taking a bit longer. I'm going to use my brains to like, kind of like try to hack that and then use intelligence, use my intelligence to study myself and be like, I'm gonna get this done. So I've been incorporating a little notebook, and like that's the other thing about having a good like a surf coaching and doing sessions, for example, with you guys, that you film and then you can watch, and then Master's telling you everything. But I use Surfline, and Surfline is terrible, but still, like I try to remember and write it down and watch myself and be like, okay, well, so using intelligence. Synthetic, when you say synthetic, that kind of like in the process, am I in the right track there? Can you like elaborate a little bit more in that?
Yes. Imagine like one of the things that we usually say, the consistency is the key. Right? Imagine like when we say like synthetic, like you breathe, surf every single day, even when you have no waves. That's why me and Tomas, we were like, oh my God, so today we are in Gold Coast, very consistent peak, a very consistent place to surf. But even here, sometimes you don't have like a lot of opportunities to training the same maneuver with the same waves, so on and so forth. That's
Yeah.
why when we talk about like synthetic, we talk about like still like training every single, even outside of the water. So creating this muscle memory that we can repeat the same movement over and over. That's why us, what Thomas and me, what we created. So is a environment that you can surf every single day. Most of our clients, friends, they training every day, even with us or not with us, like doing surf skate sessions, doing
Yeah.
mobility training, also self analysis. They can watch themselves, like
Yeah.
and keep learning, keep studying. It's a science. That's
Yeah.
why see like it's a synthetic. It's like breathing, surfing every single day. That's the way that we see that improve so much
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's true. Like, it's cool that you guys have a little bit of everything, like surfing, you have surf skate, you have yoga. Now you guys are gonna do, and now I see that it's expanded even more because now like there's surf trips to the pool that I would love to join one of those surf trips to the pool. Or you have the surf apnea. I think that's the next one coming, which is bro, that's amazing. That's another thing that I've been struggling myself with, like 5 years ago, I think, or 4 years ago, I almost drowned in Kira in a big swell. Like getting rid of that fear and then regaining my confidence has been so hard. So, surf apnea has helped me. Like I did one session and that like helped me in the process of like healing that trauma. So it's amazing that you guys are doing that. I think it's super super important. Yeah, that's an amazing intro. Like I said, always so much more than what you see on the surface. So I had no idea you guys were also working about four other coaches to implement this methodology. That's amazing.
So pretty much what we are doing is just for people that might not know us, we inside Improve Surf, we got the 4 pillars that you've done some of them. We got the surf session, which is the one-on-one session, a 60-minute session where you get up coach for yourself for 1 hour. We the self analysis session is the one that you done, where it's a film session for 2 hours where we film and you receive the raw videos as well as the video analysis of your session, of your waves surfed. We got the surf skate session, which is an amazing tool. I see a lot of people out there don't really seeing the value that the surf skate can give you to you, and I agree that it can bring a lot of bad habits to you if you don't use it right, because you can use it to simulate specific movements over and over. In surf skate is not grabbing the skate and going into the beach and just going around to one side to the other and saying that you're practicing. That's not improving your surfing. That's grabbing a surf skate and moving side to side and generating speed on flat.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work on surfing, right?
Yeah.
And what we do with our surf skate sessions is simulate movements the way that we will move in the water. So we isolate the movements in the upper body and lower body in 2 different moments. So we can teach the body how to move when we get a little second that we have in the water, which we know is so hard sometimes to find the right time, the right opportunity to try that turn that you've been thinking and wanting to try in the water.
Yeah.
So pretty much working on muscle memory. And we got the mobility training, which we are partnered up with Holistic Pro Studio at the moment. They're doing the trainings over there, which is a very nice methodology as well. It's been helping a lot of surfers to stay fit out of the water as well. And then
Yeah.
apart, that's for the students right, that's surfing with us. As we were
Is that in like in an ongoing kind of like a membership kind of thing, or it's just like same as I did, like buy a pack and then in that pack you can include. I think you can include or pick like the sessions you want to do.
Correct. You got two ways to train with improved surfing. One of them is going into the package, which we have 1, 3, or 5 sessions pack, where you can use between 3 months, which is one of the ones that you did. And then you can go into the surf session, surf analysis, or the surf skate. And then we got a membership program. You have access to 1 or 2 sessions a week, depending on the program you choose. And then you consistently training. So we believe a lot in the consistency. And
Yeah.
now we got 1 year and couple months of the membership. So it's working. We're doing a lot of interviews actually with clients that started a year ago and they were like with 9 foot. And now they are with a 6.0, 7 going for snaps. Some of them are already doing snaps. Some of them are
Yeah.
getting arrowed and doing step
Amazing.
offs and just, yeah, really,
But
really
that,
like getting that.
that that's epic. And sorry to interrupt. I'm just getting stoked.
Yeah,
This is good. I want in. I want in on that.
that's true.
We are doing a lot of more than people can see.
Yeah.
We opened the membership for the public in January. It wasn't open for the public. So it was only for
Right.
people who were training with us. And we would pretty much pick with our fingers saying, oh, come here. We have this program. You want to join?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Publish that onto our social medias. We started doing that in January because we approved. We've been through 1 year of testing and seeing how it would
Right.
be. And it's working, approved. So we are expanding now. We are opening for everyone to join.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll talk about this later. But yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Something interesting. Any levels can join that. Is there a specific level?
No, you can go
How are the
from
tiers? Any tiers?
standing up on the first wave of your life until I
Yeah.
want to get bigger barrels.
I like to say from zero to barrel.
Amazing. That's
This
awesome.
guy's
From
one.
zero to barrel.
This
man.
guy went from 0 to a barrel in 3 years.
God, I want the same. I want the same. But I remember I always Natan saying 1% better, bro, every day. 1% better every day. Every time we were going surfing, it was
We
like,
got that written down in our van, like big one.
yeah,
Better every day.
Consistency is the key, man. What a time.
there you
What a
go.
time.
There you go. So guys, this is amazing. And I think that there's just, it's epic. I love what you guys are doing, like I was mentioning before. So Masto, so going back to your experience as a surfer, right? Let's talk about that for a little bit. So how's your journey? Obviously, you told us a little bit about your surfing experience back home, where you grew up. But tell us a little bit more of that journey and which mistakes or frustrations shaped the way you teach surfing today, or being competitive and, things that you've learned from back in the day and then you're taking now to your coaching sessions. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as I was saying, I started surfing when I was very young. I was born in Argentina and my parents moved to Brazil, to Abusos, which is a small town where the waves are really nice and there are waves every day. And I started joining this pretty much council program in my city. And it was when I was 6 years old. And then with 10 years old, I was already competing my first event. I went into the podium in that one and I was stoked. I always loved surfing and I never stopped since I started competing couple events around the world. And I was teaching at the beach. My routine would be open up a tent at the beach with a surf school, surf while I was not teaching, coming in, teaching, going back surfing, eating, and that will be my routine to actually make money to be able to compete and travel around the world to compete the QSs. And I've been doing that a lot of times where I realized that one of my frustration was financial.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have the ability to go to all the events that I wanna because surfing was not really well seen at that time. It was really hard to gather sponsors, especially in Brazil. The brands didn't really support athletes much.
In Brazil being a huge market for surfing and a big community for surfing.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then we can see now it's still 2026. We're still seeing a lot of potential in Brazil with talents that they cannot go to events where because of financial situation.
Yeah.
That was one of my biggest frustrations, and a part of that information because I always liked to study what I was doing. And that's something that surfing never had. Like back in the days, you would not find information about surfing.
Yeah.
Surfing, learning to surf would be getting a video of Rob Machado, Mick Fanning, uh, your idols, watching them and trying to see, okay, I want to do. And there will be no one with real information and study to help you to improve faster, right? And that's another frustration that's I take into the self coaching, giving as much experience that I have best for equipment, mindset. So those all things that I've been through, I gather that on a box and pass it to the
Yeah.
client,
Yeah.
pass to our students, so they
Amazing.
don't experience the same frustrations I had, or make it easier for them to go through those
Yeah.
frustrations.
Yeah.
Because we know that
I
it's
think that
frustration in
so
surfing is frustration in surfing is something that come with us forever. Like no matter the level, we
yeah.
always wanted to take it to the next level, and that's something that really teach us to be resilient, be patient, and that's why surfers become very good human beings as well, right? Because we learn with that, we learn with mistakes, and we can keep moving. We move forward even though we do mistakes. And that teaches us a lot out of the water as well that we don't realize.
Great words, man. That's exactly right. That hit me. So, man, it's for sure. That's why we're here. That's what I was saying at the beginning. Surfing is there's so much more to just the sport, having boards and whatnot. It's just that resilience that you get from the sport and all the things that you just mentioned. Great words, man. And then great analogy as they're watching your idols and trying to emulate or study them to see what they're doing. I don't know if the kids are doing that nowadays. I don't know. I have no idea. Like you said, there's so much information nowadays that you can just from a reel you can learn something. Yeah, back in our days, it was like I remember being obsessed with I don't know Tash Borough and being like watching over and over how he moves and what's he. But yeah, and back in the day as well, there was no coaching at least in Ecuador. I'm from Ecuador, so it's like maybe they were, but not at my level. So only the high performing athletes will have a coach from Peru or Brazil. But now with things that you guys are doing, we all have that chance. So that's amazing. So would you would say that your major frustration was like what was like that experience that you said that shit like this is hard. Like was it competitive in a competition or was it like just a financial side of things that it's not it's making me hard to move around?
Yeah, definitely combine training, because of course, be able to compete would have to work more. So I would always be working, working, working to have the money. And then I would have the money, but then I would be destroyed because I worked too much. So I couldn't train much. So that was a bit of frustration where I wanted to focus more on training. I was obsessed with training when I was younger and competing. I was like completely obsessed with trainings. I had coaches that were like, "Man, like you gotta breathe." I was like training every day, like
No.
The question is
freedom.
how to balance that.
That was the hardest part for me, and something that taught me a lot about decisions. You can't have everything, or you gotta choose and dedicate on one or two things at a time.
Yeah.
You will fail in many many parts. You don't have any. I wouldn't have the energy to
Yeah.
dedicating this all. So the frustration and the hardest part would be to combine this all training, work, studying, because I was studying as well back in the days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
hardest part.
And I guess that's where we're in now in this partnership that you guys have. You've obviously when you have a partner in business or a partner in life or whatever, you do exactly what you just said. You delegate. Then you guys like you're in charge of coaching. Natan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like a little bit of your background as well? You started surfing 3 years ago, right?
Now
But
almost 5 years. Now almost 5 years ago.
5 years. Okay,
Oh
tell us a
yeah.
little about you.
So look, I'm engineer, right? So I was working with engineer, data center engineer for over the 10 years in Brazil. So
Yep.
one of the reasons that made me move to Australia was the balance, the lifestyle, right? So
Hmm.
I was very happy with my job, so on and so forth. I couldn't have the lifestyle that I was preparing for myself. I wasn't expecting to do not balance my life the way how I was. And I'm
Hmm.
father, I have two kids, my wife, so on and so forth. And I said to myself, I need more time. I need more family time, and I didn't have this in back to Brazil. I was working
Yeah.
a lot, and then I was looking for a place that I could like balance this lifestyle. And then I decided to move to Australia.
Yeah.
So as soon as I moved to Australia, 2 3 years story, I got jobs, so on and so forth, and the things start aligning, right? As soon as the whole thing start aligning, I had like my first full time job, so on and so forth, and then I decided to dedicate it myself and learn one thing that I love it the whole my life, and I couldn't have like time enough to do it.
Yeah.
And then I decided to sell. So as soon as
Yeah.
I started, I started with Tomas, and I
Yeah.
noticed like, very good professional.
You guys met here in Australia.
He started like coaching my kids. As
Yeah.
soon as I saw him coaching my kids, I said, "Oh, do you also coach like adults?" He said, "Yeah, of
Uh-huh.
course." And then we
Yeah.
start like, yeah, I started doing a coach together. And I told
Yeah.
him like in the beginning, man, I was stoked. I couldn't even like stand up in a board like proper. And
That's
then
awesome.
as soon as I noticed, like, oh my God, he said, I have 1 3 5 classes packages. They said for him,
Yeah.
like, you do not know, I'm very intense. So I want to do a more package. He said he started laughing,
Yeah.
right? Said,
Yeah.
you crazy?
You
And I
you were
said,
talking the same language.
man, I'm intense. Believe on me. You're gonna as soon as we start like you learn a little bit more about each other, you're gonna see I'm very intense, brother. And
Yeah.
when I said
Yeah.
there are no packages for real, and then as soon as we started, I never skipped one class in like for five
Yeah.
years. So I'm still doing it. I still like even supporting the business, but I also my students.
Yeah.
This morning, catching waves in deep, but he was like filming and analyzing us.
Yeah. And that's amazing, huh? And that's a living proof of part of your ethos, right? Which is like consistency. Consistency. That's pretty good to hear, man. And yeah, 100% like I feel like the balance, like the balance in like the work life balance is super important. Maybe it's a South American thing that we all have, that when you work over there, I don't know, it's a different way of living as well, right? But it's like work, and maybe on the weekends you get a small window. If you have a family, obviously that window even reduces even further. But yeah, it's great to have this and this work life balance, which is amazing. And I love the consistency and the intensity, because I consider myself, like I said, very passionate, very intense in what I like. Which, my partner comes and is like, "You're still doing that. You're still watching surf videos. You're still watching yourself." It's like, just let me be. Like, let me be in my zone here, and then I'll share time with you. But it's like, you're so obsessed with that. And it's like, I know what I'm doing. Let me. That's okay. I understand you guys. Let's move a little bit more with our questions here. And I think we've covered a few things. For example, the improved surfing method, which is you're combining surf skate, video analysis, and all of that. So besides Natan's case study, which is gone from zero to barrel, like what other stories do you have from students that you can say like, well, we have this chick or we had this guy from, I don't know. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about, because I know that you guys you target as well Spanish speaking people, Portuguese, obviously Aussies or anyone, but it's mainly that South American or Spanish speaking or Portuguese speaking. How has that gone? How is it like? Because I know, communities, us that we live in another country, living here in Australia, we're pretty tight. So when you find a good group that you're comfortable with and we all understand each other, it's a tight knot. It's like we all support each other, correct? So how has that experience been? Tell us a little about that, like people froth to just have because sometimes people come and learn English here, right? And then it's hard for them to speak maybe Portuguese or Spanish. It's like with Masto, when I was there, when I was doing the class, we were speaking in Spanish. It was like, "Ah, esto, el otro." So how's that experience?
So that's pretty good, like actually a point that you talked. Most of our coaches, they speak Portuguese, Spanish, and English. So we got the three language covered for the levels. I think that makes a big difference, as you said, for someone that came here, maybe is not very familiar with the language, and surfing has a lot of slangs, and it's
Mm.
hard to bring it break down on a way that a normal person that never learned the slangs yet would understand what you mean. With
Yeah,
flat, the waves are flat. There are no waves today. It's it's hollow. It's so there are some words that we use that is
Offshore.
offshore, onshore, cross shore. Like a lot of
Yeah.
words are hard to explain for people that never heard that.
You are ripping,
Um,
right?
yeah, like yeah.
Ribbon, yeah.
So it's been really nice the part of community that we are building, especially on when we started the membership program a year ago. You can see how much the members they really hang out together. They create
Mhm.
groups. They go surfing by themselves.
Yeah.
It's it's
It's
real, you know.
beautiful to
Like, I
see,
was
huh?
talking to someone the other day, and they were like, "I went for the session, and I already knew that I would like the part of technical because everyone is saying good things, and I heard a lot of good feedbacks and everything." But they were like, "But the thing that really got me was the community thing. I saw you guys put a lot of the word community into the Instagram and the social media. And man, I came here and I can say like." It's true. That community thing, like you guys finish coaching and go in a group of 10 people, have a coffee and
That's
keep talking.
amazing. Yeah.
That's something that for us is very normal. We've been doing this from day zero. We surf, we finish surfing, whoever is around, guys, we're going for coffee. Let's go. Yeah, we go here.
Yeah.
We got partnered up with a couple places that we have coffees,
Yeah.
especially the trail at Diba.
Yeah.
We go there, we hang out with the group, whoever is there.
And not only that, as we were like discussing before, right, imagine like one of the hardest sport in the world, right? People think that's a sport that you do by yourself, but actually it's not. Actually, when you have like a community that has the same purpose, right? And we can serve
Yeah.
together, man, as we said, we talk like about to keep the consistency. If you're doing it like 1 or 2 classes with Improve Surf a week, it's not enough. But imagine now that you have a community that you can call your friend and say, let's go to have some surfing. That's amazing, even
Yeah.
for us, the people to improve quicker and they keep consistency by themselves, community even greater for us because we are about
Yeah.
to have new mistakes. We don't want to see the same mistakes over and over again. Otherwise, Thomas is not gonna fix it. You know, the other coach is not
Yeah.
gonna fix it. We are always like chasing for new mistakes. And if you keep the consistent inside the same purpose in this community, you know, they surfing
Mhm.
by themselves and, you know, like improving even quicker because they doing it. They
Yeah.
going every day. That's amazing for, and then we can share this talk in a coffee shop. So that's the
Yeah.
beauty of have a community, the same purpose. Not like a community because we're inviting people like different purpose. No, same purpose, you know, same vibe, sharing this talk. That's amazing.
It's a
Yeah.
tribe. It's a tribe. You create a tribe, you create a community. And like you said, Natan, like everyone is there for the same purpose. And that's very powerful. It's a very powerful feeling and to feel identified and even like to share. Maybe you mentioned this, but sometimes words they slip out of my mind because I'm thinking in these groups, it's everyone, right? Advanced with the intermediate, with the beginners, everyone is in the mix in there, in the same group.
That's
So for yeah. So, for example, me to be sharing with someone like Tomas that's more experienced and chatting about something, or the very big, the intermediate it's starting to do floaters. I don't know, something like to talk to someone a little bit more advanced and be like, "Hey, I saw you doing this. Like, how do you?" And having that openness, because you're in a circle of trust, pretty much, and not feeling exactly, not feeling judged.
There is no
man.
limit. There's no limit.
And everyone push each other, you know, like as you
Yeah.
said, Carlos, you in a war with Tomas, he pushing a level. Sometimes
Yeah.
you with me or with someone else that's a lower level, and then you pushing us to the next level. So we inspire ourselves in sharing. That best friend that we said is not anymore coach and students. You can be this community together sharing the knowledge. Friends,
Yeah.
imagine that best friend that I said that's giving tips
Yeah.
is stuff better
Yeah.
than you and give you tips.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you were saying, you know.
That's it.
Imagine now
That's
in
the
a
motto.
community. That's it, man. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Mm. That's great. And then, like I said, like for so many different reasons, and everyone that is watching us right now, and if you're like, even like if you're planning to come to Australia and the Gold Coast, because there's a lot of people asking me in my community, my community in Shori, about where to train here in Gold Coast in Australia. So I always it's like, what to improve. obviously my community is Spanish speaking community. So I know that it's amazing because I'm gonna meet, like I said, that speaks the language. Tomas speaks Spanish as well, and it's a good community. So it's great. So yeah, and for what I was gonna say, actually, the bottom line of this little message that I was gonna throw there is, if you're watching us and you're going somewhere that is not Australia or whatnot, I think that that's you will notice that in the end you meet people from the area, but in the end, who speak your language or come from the same place that you tend to stick around because that's a connection that you have from back homes. Good stuff that you guys are doing. Good stuff. Just to a couple of steps back. What like? And I asked you this at the beginning, but then we went somewhere else. What case study? What story do you have besides Natan's? Like any other stories, anything that you've been like it's amazing. It's watching your kid grow and like progress, because like from a beginner and then watching someone barrel is like, yeah, like, how does that feel?
Man, it feels
There are a couple,
yeah, there are a couple people that we can say, like, we got the rookie of the year last year, which was Vini, one of the guys that he was the fastest improvements like that I've ever seen, and I've been coaching for over
Yeah,
15 years, and I've never seen someone improving that fast. And the commitment as well was beautiful to see. So he doesn't have a car, comes to the
yeah.
sessions by bus,
Wow.
doing twice a week by bus. The rain, sun, no matter
Yeah,
the weather, he will be there
you
10
show
minutes
up.
earlier, warming up and getting ready. He started with a 9 foot in
Yeah,
January last year. 9 foot going straight, just learning and learning. He's surfing with a 6. He's doing full long cutbacks and he's going for
nice.
snaps. He's making snaps. Like he's really like going for nice snaps, and speed generation is perfect. Technique is very good. He was that person that really learned the base, so he doesn't
Yeah.
have many normal mistakes. The surface they already
Mm,
learned what they have, which sometimes is harder to relearn new habits. That takes a little bit
hmm.
longer.
Forever.
And Vini is one of the rook of the years. We got plenty. We got
that
50,
is
50, 55, 56 members at the moment, and most of them they've been 1 year from with us.
that is
It's
another
crazy.
one
That's
that I would
cool.
like to share.
Yeah.
Is a
So
coincidence.
shout out to Vini. Who's this one
Yeah,
now?
Yeah,
but it's a
Vini.
coincidence because it's another Vinicius.
Oh
So
yes, the
he
other
started
Vini.
Ah,
with us
Vinicius.
like, yeah, he started with us around April last year.
Okay.
True.
The guy was like being consistent like every single day. Nowadays he's doing self analysis, but he's
Okay.
also like very committed to improve. Not only that, brother, he started in April. October,
Okay.
he was traveling to Indonesia with us in our first very international surf trip to Lombok, and
Yeah.
he
Charging.
ripped. Bro.
He was
So
charging.
Really?
imagine
That's
for
awesome.
6 months doing a very first surf trip to Indonesia with the
Yeah.
other, like he just made it, and he got like a very good wave. He says like he got one of the best wave of his life, and man, it was mind blowing. Someone like he started in 6 months, like doing a surf trip to Indonesia, Lombok, with us and gripping,
So good. So good.
unbelievable.
That must feel so good for you
Man,
guys.
it's
Like
true.
that's
Yeah. Dreams come true, brother. Like the distance between the dream, like and become a real, just the consistent and the motivation that you put in. You have to transcribe this in actions, and people
yeah.
doing it.
We got plenty. Like I maybe afraid of saying words and forgetting someone, but like yeah,
Yeah.
Gala, Carla, Miu, Waila, Nai, Lama, Gloria,
Uh,
Mila.
yeah.
Oh,
You
and the
you guys
line.
gonna have to send me the video, so I'll put them in this edit, like a little videos. That's awesome, guys. From these experiences that you're telling me, as a person, it's amazing what you just said about the when you're self-taught in the sport or any sport, I guess, but surfing, which is so freaking technical. For example, like I said, I've been surfing all of these years, and after all of these years, you know what my number one mission is right now? My bottom turn. So I'm going back to the basics. Yeah, exactly. So, like I noticed that I was sucking at my bottom turn. And it's like not doing what Natan just did, like the late, like touching the water kind of thing, like, and I was like,
That's what we're practicing now.
eh, not this, but this.
Changing it.
Yeah, man. And look, like surf skate for that is amazing because you can go over and over. So I go to two and skate park and then I look like a crazy person, but I just do that and do that and do that and do that and do that. And then, but in saying that, from your daily experience, what is the most common mistake beginners, intermediate surfers make that they end up showing or slowing their progress? So beginners, they have heaps, but let's talk maybe intermediate to more advanced. What are things that you have noticed? For example, with me, with the thing of the arm, with the bottom turn, tell us a little bit about what are the most common issues that people should kind of like notice.
That's the easiest one for me to say and the hardest to do, which goes beyond technique. It's mindset, which is you're going for a coaching session and you're getting the tips, you're getting the goals for the session. But the hardest thing that I've seen people when they get into the water is to think while they're surfing. That's the hardest skill to get, and that requires a lot of practice and a lot of sessions to actually get used to remember why you're practicing. Because it's very normal that you catch a wave, you have the goals to work, you stand up on the board, you just surf the wave, and you get to the end of the wave, and you're like, "Whoa, what did I just did? Did I do that? Oh, I don't remember." So the hardest thing that I see, the hardest, like the most mistake, is getting the mindset into training, beating, and remember that you're practicing one thing specifically, which is hard when you are out there with so many different people and then you talk. If you go to a place where there are more people, there are a bit of more distractions and the wave is
Yeah.
coming and you paddle, you stand up, you surf, and then at the end of the wave, you are like, did I did
Like,
what happened to my wave, That's the hardest thing, and that is a really hard thing to do, like, think while surfing.
it, yeah, yeah.
That's really
And
like
like you said, I think it all begins before you hit the water, before you get in your car to drive to the beach. That's amazing.
There is one thing that I noticed is more about like intermediate that you said like I'm not want to talk about beginners a lot.
Mm.
One thing that I see in this transition, I didn't happen with me, but I saw many happening with many people. But the reason why it didn't happen with me because I seek for advice. In the beginning, it is like the equipment. So most of the people that
Mm.
I see that got stuck because they trying to surf the short board without having an advice first with a coach slash shaper. People really sees like, oh, look, Mick Fanning, what he's doing with that board. I'm going to buy it, but it's something that can, how can I say,
slow
you can
down.
get stuck in your progression just because you choose the wrong equipment. And it's so easy to make this mistake. Even
Mhm.
if you're already surfing with your own board, sometimes that your daily board is not good for that specific day. And it has to be
Mhm.
like if like small waves,
Different.
yes, different. Like small waves, probably you have more need of more volume. You have to decide like I'm going to take this one because it has more volume and the wave there is no power. That's normal. That's about surfing. Like like you have it's like your vibe. You feel well because you surf. It's not because you have to rip all the time. Sometimes the ocean, the wave doesn't give you this opportunity. That's okay. Next
Yep.
day probably you're going to have but choose your right equipment. For me, for who is learning, man, that's a thing that's crucial. No problem you choose a foam board in a small days. No problem. I surf with this foam board mostly like every Sunday. I see like Tomás like with longboards all the time. That's normal. You have just
To adjust
that's
accordingly to
it.
the
And
conditions.
surf, man, and get happy. That's it, man. The beauty about surf.
Actually, that's actually a really good point, and it was the next question. It was like let's talk about surfboards, it's about equipment, about fins, volume, because and it's the same kind of question. It goes hand to hand, hand to hand. Like, what's the biggest mistake of a beginner, intermediate, even an advanced? Will be mindset. You know, it's something that no one really pays attention to, and I 100% agree with you. And that's why I have my little notebook. It's how obsessed I am. I have it right here. I'll show it to you. it's a
Man,
bit. It's
I
a bit.
understand.
It's a bit.
I've
It's
done
a
that
bit
so
weird.
much in my life.
It's a bit weird because it's been wet, so I have to patch it. But anyways,
You know
but
what I used
it's
to
that.
do? You know what I used to do before you jump into that? That you remind me when I was really young and I was that obsessed as well. I would get my notebook and I would write down the conditions that I was surfing, swell
Yeah.
direction, wind direction, which surfboard I used, which things I used, and I would match. And I would create a data. So when I was going to compete, would have 4 boards with 4 or 5 different things. And that's
Yeah.
the hardest thing as well, to choose what equipment you use in those conditions. So get a notebook, go through the conditions and see which you want to surf the best, because I would put a little note of how I felt,
How
know,
they perform.
and I will match that to be able to choose my equipment for the competitions.
Listen to this, guys. This is gold. This is gold because, mate, that's why I do this podcast, because like people with more experience or different experiences it's good to hear. So, for example, I would have never, probably other people do it, but I've never like thought about it. What I do is I experiment and I write my purpose. That's the first thing I do. This week is just gonna be snaps. I'm just gonna train snaps, and I'm going with that mentality of like, okay, I need to do this. But then, yeah, with equipment, that's a great idea. I'm gonna start implementing that because, like, yeah, for sure. And I love testing fins, and you know, I'm right now in that trip of being obsessed with fins and boards and equipment. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, like, in your experience, what would you suggest to anyone, beginners and intermediate, like Natan was saying, like how to adjust, what type of board? Because you said it perfectly, like, you know, like you see the ads, you see Mick Fanning ripping, and then you go to the shop and you buy a high performance surf. You go to your local beach break, and that thing won't paddle and then won't go anywhere because the rocker is like a banana rocker. So what is your suggestion? What mistakes to avoid? Like, what do you have for us besides the making the? Well,
Look,
listen to that. I'm making the little thing. That's a great idea.
I was, as I said, I was a lucky boy because I was inside like improving surfing, and I was
Yeah.
Thomas being my coach. And the same time, what happened, we partnered up with a Jugend surfboard that you can see here in our background.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and
Are they here in the Gold Coast? Are they?
Sydney. He's like
Sydney.
in Sydney and Gold Coast.
Okay. Okay.
And then what actually happened? So while I was improving, and Tomás was sharing my raw footage, my analysis with this shaper, and he could see my progression, and he started designing boards while I was progressing, right? So I remember my first short board, he
That's
noticed that
good, man.
yeah, my first short board, he nailed it. He nailed it. I was coming from 7 zeros, and I got like a 6.2. And as soon as he saw me surfing, like, man, I have plenty of videos surfing, man. I can't
Yeah.
even like
Yeah.
imagine like how many terabytes, you know. And I remember him like taking like most of the footage, and in between him and Tomás inside a shaper, we call like a shaper video call session. We're analyzing together, man, and they broken down every single thing: my surfing, my improvement, my weight, my height. When they start designing a 3D soft, I remember one of the things that that he said was like, let's put more volume on his chest because he's not transitioning from 7.0 to a 6.2. I'm going to put more volume on his chest. The center of gravity is gonna be on his chest because I want him to pedal. Don't lose the pedal. And that
Yeah.
was mind blowing for me. And I said, "What's the normal?" He said, "The normal is between your legs, but because you coming from 7.0 to 6.2, I'm going to let more volume in the center of gravity on the front, for you don't lose the pedal, brother." He nailed
Hold
it,
on.
And
man.
every moving
Man,
like
and he was moving
forwards.
from my chest all the way to between my legs. Now I feel like a skateboard. My body is like a skateboard, but I couldn't notice in this center of gravity like going down between my
Moving.
legs. for I
That's
do not
crazy.
lose the pedal. He was giving me more pedal because he was putting more volume in my chest, but because
That's
he
amazing.
was seeing my progression. So as I said, I'm lucky because I had like two specialists, a surf coach and a shaper,
Yeah.
watching me, tracking me all the time. Always like he was like saying something and advice. I was saying like, of course, so like I was
Yeah.
agreeing
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
made my progression go more smooth, more quicker, and especially having this partner that's a shaper that could make my surfboards.
But
So I would
Natan,
say,
just imagine all, let's say
please,
like this, imagine, bro, like imagine how much time you saved, how much money you saved. Surfers, we spend so much freaking money in surfboards because we're always on the search for that magic board, right? Like again, having someone that is coaching you, that is teaching you the ways, all those years that you saved, you
man,
in 3 5 years.
one thing that it was the beauty, man, if I can like give as advice, man, if you didn't grow up like surfing, man, be humble and listen to the others.
Hmm.
Listen to the others. I wasn't like arguing with Tomás or even our shaper. He knows much better
Yeah.
than us.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't arguing, just trying to understand why they were, man, I couldn't even imagine, this kind of things like tricks, volume tricks, more rail, less rail. And I was just watching it and they were like working everything for me and I was using it, like I said, oh
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah.
oh my God. We
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of like it's a kind of shortcut. It's a kind of
Yeah.
shortcut for your progression.
Yeah. The
Yes.
equipment.
Man, when you're sick, you go for a doctor, right? To see what's the medicine. Man, when you're looking for a surfboard, a shortboard, go to a shaper. If you have like a surf coach that helps you, go with him. Man. It's like you go and
Yeah.
you go to the doctor and he's going to give you the medicine, the right medicine, and going to give you the right shortboard, like the
Yeah.
board that you want, specifically for your level of surfing and your size and weight. That's it, brother.
Amazing.
You have to combine all three things.
Working with a shaper,
Yes.
it's
Looking for
amazing.
advice.
We got a partnership with Yugen, but I've worked with different shapes before, and it's amazing that just this combining coaching and shaper, because the shaper be able to help you has to break down what you need. So the shaper can
Mm,
only help you if you can explain what you need. And when I said explain what you need, explain directly what you need. I'm talking for experience for myself. Okay. Now I'm designing 2 new boards and my boards are amazing. They are working really good. Love my boards. We got to a model, which is amazing. But I'm like, I want to experience different feelings, right?
okay.
And Fred from Yugen, he was like, hey, I need to be able to help you. I need to know exactly what you want. And I was like, okay, I want more speed. I want to get more speed. I'm a good to lose a little bit of the turning, the carving, but I want more speed. I want to get on smaller waves and fly higher. I want to do bigger
Yeah.
airs, smaller waves. And we
Yeah.
designed a quad now, very looking into the Toledo one,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
is
The FT.
really good feedbacks. And it's crazy how this match, like just to get the match that the coach can explain to the shaper why you exactly need. It's very important because
Yeah.
people as a beginner or intermediate ones, they don't know how to explain what they need because they haven't
Yeah.
seen themselves surfing or they don't know what
Yeah.
they need.
They have
Right.
no clue. It's so complicated.
Natan said something here that was it's good, but it has to be tricky in the part like listen to the others. But you gotta be careful who are you listening to,
Mm, yeah.
because for instance, we got a client that came the other day and she was like, "Oh, 2 friends told me to get the shorter board because then I can duck dive." And I'm like, who, like
Uh,
you can duck dive? That's amazing. You can duck dive, and you gotta catch waves, you know? She got
exactly. Yeah.
a
But
26 liters board, which I don't even use 26, you
Yeah.
know?
No.
It's a board that you
Yeah.
cannot pedal. So just giving you that, like, you gotta be careful who you listen to.
don't get me wrong, Carlos. Always a specialist. When I talk about in shape, always a specialist. Imagine like I can do analogy. Imagine ChatGPT. If you do not know the the questions that you wanna address,
Yeah.
don't know the questions. That's exactly what Tomai just said. The shaper was like, "What do you want?" Most of
Yeah.
surfers do
Needs.
not know what they want. That's
Yep.
why the coach should translate in a surf language what
Mhm.
they want. It's a kind of translate, and they know the questions. They know the answer. You can understand what I mean?
They have the
Achieve the
answers,
goal
yeah.
that you want to achieve. You
Of
do not
course.
know what you don't know.
Yeah.
I have a question. This just gets more interesting. Is this something that students can do in improved surfing? So, for example, we analyze my quiver with you guys, and I was like, okay, this is my quiver. I've been writing. My go-to is the Inferno, but I've been tweaking my Inferno. But for some reason, it's not working for me anymore. Like I love it, but when you're over that board, and then it's like, there's something. And now I don't know. I ordered I have a chili hot knife, but those are I call them diva boards because that's where I surf every day. So it's like a beach break. And then that one has like really thin rails and it just goes. But the rocker is not, it's very flat. So when it gets a little curvy, a bit difficult. You see, it's like a mix. I need a mix of what the rocker from the Inferno. So if I were and do a session with you guys, like, is that something that I can do with, was it Eugen? Eugen?
Yeah, with Fred. Yeah, we can do with Fred as well as the shape you have because we coach people that they already have their coaches, and I'm more than happy to work with other shapers as well. We are not closed in the way that you're gonna know about surfboards if you go with our shaper. We've been
Yeah.
designing coach surfboards with no matter the shaper. We have a chat, we call, explain, so the coach can understand in more like technical words what the person needs, and then it's gonna be optional for the person that is looking for the new board if they wanna go with Yugen or with another shaper.
Basically, video session that you run, if you go to in our website, www.progreso.com/shop, you're gonna
Yep.
see the video, the shaper area, and then you can
Right.
schedule your video call, right, with our shaper, with our coach. And it's like we go there, we charge like $100 just for a run, the video call for show you how would be the best, one of the best boards for you at this moment now. But it's obligation free. If you buy like a Yugen surfboard, these $100 you're gonna be like a part of your payment when you buy your board. In other words, it's gonna be free for you if you buy a Yugen surfboard. But if you wanna just like know how you're gonna be your board, like, and design all your board, you can just like know everything, understand everything, and design with your own shape. At least you finish this call knowing the kind of board that you have to design with your coach, the measure, what we trying to achieve in your surf.
That's the thing as
Awesome.
well, like for what kind of stuff you wanna use the board, which is important too because
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
a question that the board can change if you wanna go for a point break
Oh yeah, of
or a
course.
beach break. We were
Yeah.
talking about fins, which I love as well. And
Yeah.
Fred, he was working with fins industry for a very long time. He's very knowledgeable as well about fins and how crazy one board that I got. And he had the ability to fit quads and twins.
Yeah.
So I got bored and I had a couple twin fins with me. And I remember the board arrived and I was like very keen to try it. And I got these twin fins on it and I went for surf, and the board was horrible. The board was like, man, I can't turn this board. What happened? Like, and I got back home. I called Fred, and Fred, this board is horrible. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
which fins did you use? That was the first question. And then I
Yeah.
show him the fin, and he's like, yeah, of course it doesn't work. I didn't design the board for that kind of fins. You gotta try this. What? Yeah. So here you go. Try this. And then I bought those fins, put them on, and man, the board just went completely magic.
It's crazy. Huh? It's crazy.
You are like that, like it's mind blowing,
What
like
happened?
how it happens to me as well, with a lot of years that I'm go, Fred, it doesn't work. Get these things here. And they go
Yeah.
like board just completely changed. It was when like more the twin and quads started to get more famous, and then people
Yeah.
started to use them more, try them out and get it as well. And yeah, it's mind blowing.
You don't need to go
And it's
to
crazy that a lot of people, they don't pay attention to fins. rather buy another board. And it's like, first, change the
He's
fins.
sharing something that happened with me in Indonesia. Called
What
him,
happened?
and I was like,
Yeah.
man, that's my daily board, so on and so forth. I was in Indonesia, like, and then I called him. I said, doesn't work. It doesn't do like a good carves. He said, what kind of fins
Yeah.
are you using? And I was
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
larger fins.
Fanning.
Yeah, the big
Big
fanny
fanning
ones.
large
He said,
ones.
man,
Yeah.
just change the center one for a medium one. Completely changed the board. Board was like
And what was
much
happening?
smooth.
Too much
Man,
drag.
I just changed one thing, center one.
Yeah.
It was larger, put a medium one. Man,
You got the Almeric. The
But
Almeric
of the same or
yes,
different fins?
magic.
not the same.
Same, but medium size
I
instead
think you
like
medium.
changed
large.
for the Almeric, didn't you?
I don't remember. I
Because
remember
that
this.
happened 2 times. That happened
Yes,
2 times.
man, just changed
Right.
one.
Yeah.
I didn't change the whole lot. I just changed one in the center one.
Loosen up the board. It loosened up the board.
Was like I was getting stuck in the
Crazy.
cutbacks, man. And then
Yeah.
it was like falling. I said, man, something is going wrong. And then
It's
this
crazy.
board doesn't turn. And then Nathan just changed one. You don't need to change all of those. Man, as soon as I changed it, the board was like, of sudden, man, a minimum thing that complete. I was almost breaking my board. Now
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
plays anymore.
Bro, it's like that. And a lot of people, they don't realize how important
I have no
know,
idea
and they
nowadays.
have no
Like,
idea. But man, and it's crazy because until to this day and era, we have so much information. It's like, nah, they don't want to pay attention to it. But then once they do it, for example, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when they ask me, because I'm always sharing information, it's like, be careful, like these are the templates, and these are the things. So now when they ask me, it's like, what kind of things where it's like, go neutral, like start with neutral. Get a set of neutral things in future themes, or I'm not sure if FCS have a neutral template, and start there. And then from there, like start testing out the, rake or pivots. For example, for me, pivots are my go-to things because I surf beach break. I surf Diva pretty much every day. So pivot for me works epic in most of my boards. Then when snapper or greenie or even Diva gets more curvy and it gets bigger, then I switch boards and I switch fins. Or just if it gets bigger, I switch fins. Then I have my combo. I need to do the exercise. But I kind of have it in my mind, like, okay, these conditions. But to get to that point,
And
it's
it's
experience.
funny you said that. There is a fine line between like how big the surf is and how
Ooh, that's
like
another
Be-
mindfuck.
because there's a size of waves you go with, like, okay, the waves are this, and I'm using maybe medium, like a smaller wave, and then going a little bit bigger, I'm using into larger fins. But if it goes bigger, I'm switching boards and switching fins down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's another mistake that I see. People keep going up with boards and they keep up going with fins.
Mhm.
Sometimes then
You don't need-
I'm not round pin surfboard.
Yeah.
You don't need large stiff fins. You the other way around. You want to move the board a little bit more, especially if it's more
Yeah.
barrel. You want to be able to move it. Kira, you
Yeah.
gotta move up and down. You
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
board that's super stiff.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a great point. And this is when you get technical with things. This is the fine lines in surfing. That if you don't know what you're doing, you go and you have a bad session. What Natan was saying is like, what the fuck is going on with my board? I know this board, but different wave, different situation. Little changes. So that's a great thing that you're saying. Because for example, I have my 77, which is my high performance. That's a super high performance. The rails are already working as a fin. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't need a large fin, like you said. And that's another thing that I realized, like, why is this board not feeling the way? And then from a large, I dropped to a medium and then whoop, magic. And I was like, that was the problem. That was the problem right there. So yeah,
Can I
it's
share
like that.
something? Can I share something funny that it
Of
was
course.
my reality back then? It's nice for people to listen to this because they need to know how lucky they are to be able to have that much equipment nowadays, which is good
Yep.
because you can adapt so much, but it's also overwhelming for a lot of people because we have a lot of advertising, a lot of things, a lot of
Yes.
concaves, a lot of shapers, a lot of sizes, a lot of curves. But back in like I'm 30 years old, not really saying like back in the days, like so long
Yeah.
ago. I'm talking about 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I would have one or two boards and I would have two fins, two pair of fins, and I will have to perform with that. No matter if the waves are 3 meters, half meter, no matter what, I will have to adapt my surfing to suit that equipment. I have to have, I don't know, medium fins on a bigger day. I will have to push that tail a little bit slower, a little bit lighter. So I will have to adapt my surfing to be able to perform because that's the equipment I had. I couldn't really choose. But nowadays, there's a lot of opportunity for you to adjust equipment and push hard on your limits. So that's why the surfing is growing as well. Turns
Yeah.
are getting higher and bigger and airs and everything's
Yeah.
improving because of course equipment is coming up.
Not only
Yeah.
that, 15 years ago, you were lucky to have two pairs of fins because most of the boards were like fixed things, you know? You couldn't even change.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's like it's several things. I was stuck with FCS the AM fins, AM2s, which are great fins. They're still my favorite fins. I still use them when it's good and whatnot. But that was the only set of fins that I served my entire life until one day, maybe 3 years ago. Imagine all the time that I spent with that I was surfing the pool and I was like, why in the hell I can't do like more tight turn? Or maybe that was Diva. I can't remember. But I was one day realizing that why? Because the board was making me go more around. I was like, I don't want to go around. I want to go shorter, like shorter cuts, more to the pocket. Then I started researching it's the pivot fin. And I was like, maybe that's the thing that I need to test. And I was like, I'm gonna open my mind. And that's how it started for me. And I was like, put the pivots on. And I was like, holy shit, like this is it. This is what I needed. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's what it's amazing what you guys are doing because people are gonna skip all of those years, like Natan, Progress, and like all the case studies that you guys have. So, and I'm gonna be another case because like the goal for me is to improve and be the best that I can. Like, I think surfing, that's the beauty of surfing. That when you reach that level, you're like, I'm here now. I want to go further. I want to try new things, and it's all in here. Yes, I think that we've talked a lot. We can keep talking all day long, and tomorrow about surfing because we're very passionate about it. I think we've covered a lot. I think that people that are watching us get the chance to learn more about improved surfing. Not only that, but learn from your experiences, which is great. You guys have dropped some knowledge bombs that I will share as well as reels. It will be amazing. So the final question that I got for you guys is give me 3 key pieces of advice that you will give to someone from like a beginner surfer, someone that is thinking about starting to surf, someone that stops surfing at all. That's from a perspective of a surfing coaching. And I want some advice for people that they're thinking about creating something for themselves from a business perspective in your experience, which is all blends to. You can divide 3 and 3 if you want.
I would say the first one would be seek for professional advice because you can cover a lot of pillars, your equipment, technical. So seeking for professional advice for sure.
Consistency. Consistency is the key. It's one of the hardest sports in the world. Together with consistency, the third one that I would say be resilient. Takes a lot of time for you.
Respect the process.
Yeah, respect the process. Man, the process is amazing. Passionate
About the
by the
process.
process. And I would say you're gonna improve, of course. Like
Mhm.
these 3 things I think is the
Yeah, improvements are gonna be consequence if you
yes.
have those 3.
Enjoy the process, but that's not a
Amazing.
run. It's just you and yourself,
Lifestyle.
and be resilient.
Well said.
As you guys just said in the beginning, frustration it's part of surfing. Most of people gave up, but they don't even recognize they improved a lot. Half of the journey they gave up. Like, stay stoked, be resilient. Sometimes 1, 2 weeks that you're not gonna surf well, but in the third week you're gonna start again, restart again. You're gonna get well. That's it. And consistency is the key. and seek for advice, I would say you're going to help you improve a lot. Be consistent.
Amazing.
Whoever like
Amazing.
listen to it, and
Be consistent.
professional surfers get frustrated. Why not you that you just started your journey and keep doing it?
Exactly. Amazing. Amazing. So those were great words. 100% agree with that. And the same, man. Like, I think that a lot of, that's why I love surfing, because that frustration, that persistency, that we learn about it, we can translate to other things in our lives, like family, work, friendship, relationships, anything, right? So that's awesome, guys. Hey, before we go, I want you to, Natan and Masto as well, say hi to the community in Portuguese, in Spanish, and like welcome them to improve surfing if they're here in Gold Coast. Even if they're not here in Gold Coast, they can also have sessions with you online. I assume so. They can call you, I guess, and talk about surfboards, and you can coach them about that or any other thing. So go on. Para la galera.
Saber un poco más cómo funcionan las olas de Gold Coast, surfear uno de los beach breaks, en los point breaks, los mejores y más constantes spots del mundo y mejorar tu surf. Entonces los convido a conocer Improve Surfing y también a Carlos Shorey, que hace un contenido muy bueno.
Primeiramente, antes de mais nada, gostaria de agradecer, Carlos, aí em português, por convidar a gente aqui nesse canal maravilhoso. Obrigado aí pelo espaço aí, para a gente poder falar um pouquinho da Improve Surfing, né? Que grande projeto você está fazendo aqui. E eu queria dizer para todos vocês que gostariam de surfar, procurem Improve Surfing aí, a gente pode ajudar vocês e a gente pode levar o seu surf para o próximo level. Tamo junto. Um grande abraço aí a
Esa
todos.
es. Muito bom.
Next time, I'm going to improve my manage to running.
That's it. That's it.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
next time
yes.
I'm gonna be in one of the sessions. We'll have coffees and then we'll teach each other how to talk Portuguese and Spanish and all of that.
You are part of the community, brother.
That's it, bro. I'm gonna go with the membership, man. We'll talk about that. I want that one.
Let's do it, man.
Awesome, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so